My name is Ro. I'm a narcissistic abuse survivor and I'm a certified life coach. I'm here to help you heal from narcissistic abuse, answer any questions that you might have about narcissistic abuse, how it affects you, how it can affect your life, how you can be stuck in the cycle of abuse, and how narcissism is pretty rampant in society. Again, my name is Ro. If you like the live, if you like being here, tap the screen, share the live. I'm here for 1 hour. So at 9:55 p.m. Eastern or 9:55 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, I'll be logging off to head to another coaching call. But I thought I would just come on for 1 hour and chat with you all about narcissistic abuse. So drop your questions in the chat. Welcome, everyone. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. Introduce yourself. Tell me where you're from. If you want to get my attention and get the question in the chat, just put your hand up. We're going to be talking all about narcissistic abuse, no specific topic at all. I am on for 1 hour, and if you're just tuning in, my name is Ro, Coach Ro. You can call me Coach Ro. You can call me Rossana Faye. I'm a narcissistic abuse survivor of 15 years and a certified life coach. I offer one-on-one coaching, I offer group coaching, and I can help you heal from narcissistic abuse. So let's get started. Where are you from? Who is in here today? Where are you from? What questions do you have for me on the topic of narcissistic abuse? And also, do not forget to subscribe to my YouTube, which you can find on the link in my bio. You're from Hamilton, Ohio. Hello. There's a Hamilton in Ontario in Canada. So there is a Hamilton in Ohio and a Hamilton in Canada as well. You're from Alabama. Welcome. Hello. Elondris. Is that how you say your name? From Pensacola, Florida. Hello. Welcome. Goo, goo, goo. I don't know what that means, but welcome. I don't think I'm your mommy. I do have 3 kids of my own, which I am their mommy. I doubt that I'm your mommy. Thank you for subscribing. Anyone who comes in with a love badge, I really appreciate you. I thank you so much for being here. Anyone who wants to subscribe to my live, okay, thank you for the follow. Anyone who subscribes to my live, you do get exclusive subscription perks. So you can put a special gift in the box. You can put a little emoji, or they call them emotes in the box. It also tells me when I have a lot of subscribers to my live, it tells me that you want me here. It tells me that you want me to provide you with this free content and to give you these chats. So the more subscribers that I have, the more access. And thank you, Megan. How's it going? I love when I see my clients in here. If you are a client of mine, if you want to put a little hands up and say, hey, client, I absolutely love seeing my clients, my subscribers. I love seeing people that I work with here in the chat as we talk about narcissistic abuse. It is not an easy topic to talk about. It's not easy to share and to be in the space of healing where we're dealing with traumatic situations in our lives. If you don't know and you're just coming in, my name is Ro. I'm a narcissistic abuse survivor. I'm also a life coach. I'm a certified life coach, and I help you heal from narcissistic abuse. I offer one-on-one coaching. If you want to book with me, you can go to the link in my bio. I also offer group coaching. So every month we do a group coaching session where we talk about what's been going on in our lives. The last month we talked about clarity. We talked about the moment we knew we were with a narcissist. The month before that, we talked about self-care and self-love. How do we practice self-care and self-love? If you want to join, I think there's only 2 spots left in my group coaching. So if you want to join the group coaching session, go to the link in my bio under group coaching and you can sign up for that. The next one is in October once this one sells out. Does the narcissist return after the discard? The narcissist never goes away. So whether you discarded them or they discarded you, I want you to know something. The narcissist never really goes away. Unfortunately, the narcissist loves to stick around, loves to bother you, loves to watch you, loves to stalk you, loves to harass you, loves to sit around and talk shit about you, run a smear campaign on you. They will use you for supply, whether they're rotating you with somebody else. So if a narcissist has you as their main supply and then they find a new supply, they've discarded you, you are on the back burner and they will abuse you in a totally different way. So they'll do all of these things. Hey gorgeous, what's up Michelle? Michelle's in the house. They will do all of these things to the new supply in a love bomb effort. They will love bomb the new supply and treat them so good. They might even do the things that they promised they would do for you, just to send you a message, just to say, hey, you were the problem. You were the one that's the problem, right? They'll do this in order for you to feel jealous, in order to feel like you're the problem. And then what they'll do is, as they're love bombing the new supply, they are devaluing and abusing you when they're discarding you in post-separation abuse. When they are tired of the new supply and they start to devalue and discard the new supply, they're coming back to hoover you. So it just keeps going. Do they come back after the discard? Yes, they do, when they're bored of their other shiny toy, where they do not feel like there's any value there anymore. They'll use you for everything that you can offer them, and then they'll go back to the old supply. They'll go back to you. So this is something to watch out for. 3 months, no contact, been quiet, I'm still struggling, so exhausting and so sad. Hey, freedom snaps. This is something I always do, okay? I always do this, freedom snaps. Okay? This is where it came from. I do the freedom snaps. If you ever have a no contact date that you want to put in the chat, if you want to put a freedom date in the chat, we're going to celebrate. All right? And we're going to do the freedom snaps. Nobody else does this but me. All right? If you are sad, if you're struggling and you're exhausted, it's because you've been living in a constant state of fight or flight for a very long time, and you're constantly hypervigilant. You're constantly looking around for potential danger, and you're exhausted because being in a state of fight or flight for such a constant, for forever, makes you exhausted. So be very kind to yourself. It's okay to be this exhausted. It's okay to be struggling. It's okay. This is temporary, all right? None of this shit lasts. The bad times don't last. I promise you, you will get out of this. I promise you there's a light at the end of the tunnel. I promise you that healing isn't linear, and it can be hard sometimes, but you're on the healing journey now. And every day on the side of freedom is always far better than the best day you ever had with that narcissist. Never forget that, okay? Ro still won't file for divorce, as we talked before. Oh, Brandy, I know that feeling. The narcissist in my life actually has just been served for the 3rd time with the papers, so hopefully this one he'll sign. But he just abused me pretty hard this week, verbally at my house, and we'll see. Maybe this wasn't the best timing for him, but I'm hoping. Narcissists want to hold on to you for as long as you can. If you got away with not marrying a narcissist, consider yourself lucky, okay? If you did, expect some post-separation abuse ongoing constantly, because the divorce is the one thing that they know will cut the tie, even just for a moment. It's really hard to divorce a narcissist. You need coaching, you need help and support during this, because it's really hard to let go for the narcissist to let go of you, because they still want to control you in every way possible. So please be kind to yourself during this process. Has anyone ever been stalked by a narcissist? Tanya, good question for the group. Anyone want to answer? Your freedom date is June 28th. Freedom snaps for you. Let's celebrate. Side note, but you're so pretty and I love the nails. I just got them done. Thank you so much. I just got them done. They're like smoky neon. He threatened my life. I'm so sorry. Going through court. I know that feeling. Freedom date, Michelle. October 22nd. My favorite day is 22nd. That's my favorite number. 1 month to a year. Freedom snaps for you, Michelle. Love you, girl. I separated from my husband, but I can't get away. It hurts. I know that feeling. So what part of you can't get away? Emotional? Is it physical? Can you not get away because you're checking his social media? Are you not getting away because you're wanting to see if they're looking for you? Or are they on your mind all the time? What does that mean to you? Please share. Freedom date. September 3rd. We're We're celebrating freedom, guys. This is freedom. It hurts. It's not easy. It's not easy to be here. It's not easy to be in rumination cycle where we're checking on them. We're wanting to know if they're looking for us, if they're going to come back for us. We want to know what they're up to with their new relationships. That part is hard. It's really hard. It's important to be kind to yourself and understand that a trauma bond is real. The trauma bond exists. We are stuck to our abuser because of a hormone, because of set hormones that come around in a cycle. What's up, bro? What's up, Globetrotter? Love you back. Love you, girl. So I'm going on for an hour. I'm going to be on for another 50 minutes. So if you have questions, please ask them in the chat while I'm here. Let's be very efficient with our time. I do have another call at 10 o'clock, so I'm going to be jumping on a call right after this. You've been together for 16 years. Yeah, I was together with a narcissist that I married for 14 years. It doesn't matter if you're with them for a year, for 14 years, if you're with them for 10 years, 20 years. It doesn't matter how long you're with the narcissist. They do an incredible amount of damage. To our emotional side, to our physical, right? Okay, November 2021. Hey, mine was November 15th, 2019. So you filed for your divorce on July 27th. I'm so proud of you. Good job on filing for your divorce. You know what? Getting that closure, the closure can never be given to you from the narcissist. The disrespect is the closure. The lying, the manipulation, that's the closure, okay? The pretending to be someone that they're not, that's the closure. The gaslighting, that's the closure. All of that abuse and the devaluation, and all the times you felt threatened, all the times they went crazy on you and scared you half to death, that's the closure, all right? You never have to seek closure from a narcissist, ever. Sorry for all the typos. No, I can read them. You're good. You got your divorce papers? Yes. Yes, I'm back. I'm back for 50 minutes. I'm going to be on for 50 minutes, and then I got to go on a call. He has addiction issues, not mentally stable, and going through court. Any advice? Yes, absolutely. So I would take a minute to journal everything that happens between you and this person every day. Take about 15 minutes to journal it every single day. That is one thing that can help you in court, because then you have a good catalog of everything that's been happening. You can keep track of the truth, because they will want to spin all their pathological lies. So what you want to do is you want to journal everything. That's one really good piece of advice that I got from an amazing ex-lawyer in New York City, Judge Anthony. If you do not follow Judge Anthony, go right now and go follow Judge Anthony. He's an amazing ex-judge. He's an ex-judge, a retired judge from New York City, and he talks a lot about narcissistic abuse in the courtroom and how it applies to you. So anyone who's going through court with their abuser, with their narcissist, I want you to go and follow Judge Anthony. He's going to be a really great resource. And if you do need support in this, you can book one-on-one coaching with me. Judge Anthony is great. I wish I knew about him before the order we have. I know. I've talked to you about this, Megan. It's so incredibly important to do your research and to be in this space of even just knowledge and education about what narcissistic abuse is. Because even if you don't know everything, at least you have enough confidence and courage to go into a divorce order, into divorce proceedings, court proceedings, into this type of legal setup with some tools, right? I still use the stuff that he posts, even about filing for divorce. Everything he has is very, very helpful. He's a really good resource to have, and if you just missed it, his name is Judge Anthony, and he is a retired judge from New York City, and he talks a lot about narcissistic abuse in the court system. It's very beneficial if you're going through this. Anyone else who's going through this can also book a coaching session with me. I also help you with this. So if you want to book a one-on-one coaching session with me, just go to the link in my bio. You can book a 30-minute or a 60-minute coaching session with me. Did you go through depression or being exhausted for a while after leaving? Yeah, very good question. I actually was very depressed and exhausted while I was in the relationship. We also have to understand that when we're stuck in these narcissistic abusive relationships, we are depressed, we are anxious, we're sitting in a constant state of fight or flight. Our body isn't supposed to have this much adrenaline, this much cortisol, this much stress hormone. We're not supposed to be walking on eggshells 24/7. Hey Meredith, what's up, girl? We're not supposed to be sitting here on this fight or flight survival mode, walking on eggshells. We don't know if the person in our life is going to buy us flowers one day or yell at us for buying $5 cheese, right? We have no idea. So we do get very exhausted and very depressed. A lot of us become a shell of a human being near the end of that relationship. I want you to know something. By the time you leave this relationship and you get the courage to leave and start a new life on your own, filled with freedom, those emotions do not go away. Unfortunately, they do not go away, but you cope through them better and you have more freedom to feel more comfortable, okay? So I want you to know this so that when you're going forward in your healing journey, you can look at yourself in the mirror and be very kind to yourself with how you feel. Healing isn't linear. It is not a destination that we just arrive to, all right? Healing is a direction we choose to take. It's not a destination, it's a direction. So sometimes when we know we're on that healing journey and we're on that path, we can love ourselves through that path and say, hey, there's no place I need to be. There's no place I need to get to. The fact that I'm on that trajectory, I'm on that path, I know that I'm healing. And be very proud of yourself and celebrate yourself through this healing process, okay? Why would a narcissist tell you that they hate you? Is it a punishment? You know why they do this? I'm going to tell you. Who wants to know why? Can someone take a stab? Why does a narcissist tell you that they hate you? Hey Rocco, what's up, friends? Why does a narcissist tell you that they hate you? I want to know what you think, right? Me. How's it going, girl? They hate themselves. Megan, you hit the nail on the head. And guys, I love it when I see these love badges, so please consider subscribing to my live. If you do subscribe to my live, you know what it tells me? It tells me that you want to see me. It tells me that you want me here. When I get subscriptions to my lives, it tells me that I need to be here more and that I could be here talking to you more often and giving you the information and letting you helping you heal through this with me, because I'm also healing myself. You're absolutely right. They hate themselves. People who have to say a bunch of stuff about themselves, I'm this, I'm that, right? Do you notice when people say, I'm very honest, I have high integrity, I'm very generous with my time, I'm a very loyal person. Do you notice when people say that about themselves, it's almost like they have to convince themselves that they're that? Okay? The same thing goes for people who project. You're cheating on me. You're dishonest. You're a liar. Why do you hate yourself so much? I'm in practice of self-love. You're not. Because the reason why they do this, they project it on other people, is because they don't actually feel that about themselves. They feel what they project. So when a narcissist tells you that they hate you, that's a direct reflection of how they feel about themselves. It's a direct reflection of how they feel about themselves. They actually hate themselves. And so when you hate yourself so much, you abuse yourself. You abuse yourself to a level of how much you feel about yourself. What's up, Coyote? They hate themselves, they abuse themselves, but they don't know how to abuse themselves because they're so unaware. People who call themselves really emotionally intelligent, people who call themselves really in practice of self-love, people who call themselves in huge practice of self-care and self-love really are not those people. They say it because they think saying it solidifies that. They actually hate themselves. They're actually deeply insecure people. And when they abuse themselves, they do it through you. They abuse you. They tell you that they hate you. It's not a punishment to you, love. When he says he hates you, it's not that he's punishing you. He's punishing himself. I want you to know that you deserve everything. You deserve all that is good in the world. You don't deserve somebody who's telling you that they hate you. You deserve someone who's actually in practice of self-love. I didn't even do anything. They're sadistic and cruel. I know, they really are. I didn't do anything. He switched up and decided he hated everything about me. Yeah, it can switch like that. Peacemaker, what's up? Thank you for the likes. Appreciate you. Bella, thank you for the love badges. Guys, if you want to consider subscribing to my live so that it tells me that you want me here. Tells me you want to keep me here talking and sharing with you this knowledge about narcissistic abuse. There are 3 things that I believe we need to heal from narcissistic abuse. And I say this a lot, okay? 3 things we need in order to heal from narcissistic abuse. One of them we're doing right now. It's knowledge and education. It's about talking about what we went through. It's about really understanding what we went through and dissecting the types of relationships we've had, the dynamics that we've had. Ro, how can I get one-on-one coaching? Yeah, Bella, you can go to the link in my bio and book a one-on-one with me. If you want to get a one-on-one coaching with me, I do one-on-one coaching. Anyone who has worked with me before, if you want to share, hands up. Hands up if you worked with me before. It's very easy to book. Anyone who does want to have a one-on-one coaching can go to the link in my bio. It'll pull up my calendar and it will tell you exactly the days and times that I'm available. You can pick a day and time that works for you, and you will be able to see it in your own time zone. So absolutely take a look and see if this is something that you're interested in, and I can work with you, and I'll meet you on a Zoom call. So the first thing that we need to do to heal from narcissistic abuse is we have to understand what we went through. There's amazing resources. I've got a bunch of books linked in my bio here that are amazing resources and books that can help you heal. Every single one of those books has saved my life. Okay, there's 2 psychologists that have wrote amazing books that are friends of mine that are also in the Narc Avengers. This is a group that I work with that help heal from narcissistic abuse. There are 2 psychologists, 2 self-aware narcissists, and the rest of us are life coaches. And some of us talk about dating after abuse. Some of us talk about parental abuse. Some of us talk about narcissistic moms, dads. Some of us talk about our narcissistic partners, narcissistic toxic in work environments. So anyone who wants to follow some of us, we are the Narc Avengers on Instagram and TikTok, and 2 of us have written books. A couple of us have written journals that are self-guided journals that you can use to help you heal. But the number one thing, one of the 3 things to help heal from narcissistic abuse is going to be education and knowledge. Understanding what you went through, learning about this style of abuse that hurts us, that harms us. I'm going to be part of a webinar on November 10th called How Could I Have Fallen for a Dangerous Man by Dr. Sandra L. Brown. She wrote the book Women Who Love Psychopaths, which it's a little bit far from me, but it's just over there on my desk. I'm going to be interviewing Sandra L. Brown on exactly the reason why we fall into these pathological love relationships. She describes pathological love relationships as having a relationship with someone who is harmful to your health, someone who puts you in a mental state of anxiety, depression, everything we just discussed tonight. If you want tickets to that, go to the link in my bio and you can join that webinar. I'm going to be one of the panelists interviewing Sandra L. Brown about these pathological love relationships. She studied many pathological love relationships and gives you the tools on exactly how to get there or how you got there and how to get out of it. Thank you for the likes, Hunter. So if you want to know about pathological love relationships, about how you might have fallen for a dangerous man or a psychopath, right? Women who love psychopaths. And I know I do talk a lot because of my perspective. I married a narcissistic man. But there are also narcissism that happens in other relationships, in same-sex relationships, within male-female, within female-male. Narcissists can exist in women as well. Either way, it's information that can help you heal. That's number 1. Number 2, how to heal from narcissistic abusive relationships. Number 2 is going to be that access to self-care. Please, I love you. I love you too. Thank you, Hunter. Self-care and self-love. Being in the practice of self-care and self-love. Being in the practice of self-care and self-love. Understanding what love is. I always say this: love is a verb. Love is how we show up for another human being, how we show up for ourselves. Love is the action taken. Anyone can just say they love you. Anyone can say all the words. How do you match your actions with the words? How do you do as you say? Listen to what a narcissist or a person, don't listen to what they say. Watch what they do, okay? You know the song More Than Words by Extreme? You ever heard that song before? More Than Words by Extreme? Okay? Saying I love you is not the only words I want to hear from you. It's not that I don't want to. Not to say, but if you only knew. Right? How easy it can be just to show me how you feel. More than words is all I ever need. Right? That is showing up for somebody. That's showing you the actions. It's more than words. So when you think about love and you think about how you show up for someone in love, right? I love that song too. I love it. Thank you for the follow, Justin. If you show up for someone in love that you love, you don't even have to ever say you love them. You never even have to say the words. You show up for them. Love is a verb. Love is how we show up for people. Love is the action. So if we have self-love, how do we show up for ourselves? How do we practice self-love? Anyone who works with me, anyone who's a client of mine knows that I basically force you to practice self-love. I force you. I say, don't even book with me until you practice some self-love. And how do we do that? We do some self-care, okay? If you want some ideas, if you're stuck on how to practice self-care and what you can do for self-care, you can go to the link in my bio and download 31 ways to practice self-care. Get you a little place started. Any tips on how to practice self-love, self-care? If you want to know where to start, Antonia, go to the link in my bio and you can download 31 ways how to practice self-care. And I'm going to give you some ideas on how to do it. All right, that's number 2. Number 3, and probably one of the most important ways to heal from narcissistic abuse is your community. It's understanding who your people are. It's understanding who you allow in your life, who you get to heal with, who you don't have to ever feel alone with anymore. Because a narcissist is so good at isolating you. They'll isolate you from all your friends and family. They'll tell you who you're allowed to be friends with and who you're not allowed to be friends with, right? They'll pin everyone against you and make everybody block you, right? They'll silence you. They'll basically financially abuse you so that you don't have access to health care. You don't have access to healing. You don't have access to invest in your mental health. They'll financially abuse you, and then you won't be able to feel within a community. So I understand, Doug, you're still in love with her. I know that feeling. Scotty, thank you so much for coming in here. Thank you for the roses. Narcissistic and borderline, I'm not a clinician, so I can't really speak to that. But what I've heard from experts is that narcissists have lack of empathy, and borderline personality disorder, they do still have empathy, but they just split. That some days they have empathy and some days they do not. They get their anger and their rage gets the best of them, but they immediately feel guilt and remorse, whereas a narcissist does not. That would be the biggest difference that I've heard from experts, but again, I'm not a clinician, so I can't really touch on the subject of what the differences are. But if you do want to know some of the differences in different personality disorders and different psychopathy and abusive dynamics, I would read Psychopath Free by Jackson McKenzie. It's right up here, the greenish yellow book. You can find the link in my bio under books recommended by Coach Rowe, and you can download that actually for free on audio. And link in my bio, Psychopath Free. It's an amazing book to learn about some of the DSM-5 personality disorders. He broke me in 2 months. I'm so sorry to hear that. He broke me in 2 months and out of a vehicle also. Oof. Yeah, that's very abusive. They throw, they hit, etc. I'm just mad that she fooled me for 10 years. You know what? I get fooled all the time. People get fooled all the time. This is why they're so good at what they do. They know how to fool people. They know how to take people who are vulnerable and pretend that they're vulnerable, and then use all of their tactics on you to make you feel like you know this person, right? We to be honest, we don't really know anyone. The only person that we can really get to know is ourself. So, as I mentioned, the third thing is community. Being one with your community. Understanding that there is a huge community here. There are people who are healing from this type of abuse. You don't ever have to feel alone anymore. I run a monthly group coaching session that happens every month near the end of the month. The next one that I have coming up is September 25th, and I believe that there's only one spot left, I think. 1 or 2 spots left. So if you want to get in on that and you want to be part of the monthly group coaching session, it's a drop-in rate, so you just have to pay one time. And you pay for whatever's available, and as soon as it fills up, then it opens up the next month. The next one that's available September 25th, and it's still open for 2 or 3 seats left. So if you want to go to the link in my bio and book that seat, you can. We talk a lot about narcissistic abuse. We talk about the 3 ways to heal. We talk a lot about specific topics once a month. Last month, we talked a little bit about how do we gain clarity, and when the moment of clarity was when we knew we were with the narcissist and it was time to go. The one before that, we talked a little bit about self-care and how to self-love and how to practice self-care in self-love. Because again, it's one of the 3 most important ways to practice self-care. So if you want to go to the link in my bio, book that coaching session, be part of it, meet your community, meet some of the people who are dealing with this. You never know who you will inspire. You never know who you will help. And on the other side of this, the other person could help you. You never know what you might hear that might actually save your life and get you on this trajectory where you're healing and you're feeling so much better about yourself. I'm all ears for this. Hi, babes. How's it going, Greggy? I feel robbed of the years I spent with her. Yeah, that feels like I felt that. I felt like he stole the better part of my 14 years of life, right? But the thing is, they're a lesson. Some of us are like, I wish I was the person I was before I met the narcissist. No, we don't. You know, sometimes if you think about it, that person that we met before the narcissist was naive, was a little bit naive and a little bit, blind to some of the red flags and didn't have the lessons at the time. We don't want to go back to that person, right? We don't want to go back to that. We are a new, improved, transformed version of ourselves. Did you practice some self-care with oils? You did it wrong. How do you do it wrong? How do you do that shit wrong? You can't do that shit wrong. Okay, so just so you know, Greg, we're talking about, okay, so totally off topic. Anyone who's ever been sick with a cold, who's ever had an ear infection, who's ever had a throat infection, who's ever had sunburn, bug bites, who has used oil of oregano, and I know this is totally off topic and has nothing to do with narcissistic abuse, but I want to talk about this for a second. Anyone who has used oil of oregano as a form of therapy and medication or a remedy for infection, hands up, because we just suggested this to Greg earlier today, and apparently he did it wrong. I don't think there's a way to do it. When I use oil of oregano, I drop it in the back of my throat, and then I just chug water, and it helps me. You can drop a few drops in a bathtub, and it can help you if you have like skin problems, sunburn, or bug bites. I think for your ear, I think you just drop it in your ear, or you drop it on a Q-tip, and you rub it around in your ear. Anybody has any suggestions for Greggy? Pop it in the chat. This is totally off topic, but it has come up, so don't hesitate to drop some advice in the chat for him. He's having a mad earache right now, and he has oil of oregano and does not know how to use it. Doug, I dated her for 2 years and married her for 14. Yeah. So I was with the narcissist that I married for 14 years total. We were married for 7 years, and we dated before that for 7 years. So it doesn't matter the amount of time you were with this person. It has no bearing on the relationship. They could be with you for 3 months. They could be with you for 3 years. They could be with you for 30 years. We get stuck in a cycle of abuse. Doesn't matter how long it's been. In my opinion, 2 days is too long with a narcissist. So don't ever beat yourself up or ever blame yourself for being with somebody for too long. If your friends and family say, well, why did you stay for so long? Why didn't you just leave? It's not that easy to leave somebody that you're addicted to. It's not so easy to leave somebody who is hell-bent on making sure you don't get divorced, right? Is hell-bent on keeping control of you. Somebody that you have fog with, fear, obligation, and guilt. Somebody who's trying to make your life a living hell, but then also brainwashing you with hypnotic mind control, telling you that they love you, that they'll change, and making all these false promises. It's really, really tough to get past that point where you do not feel confused, because being with a narcissist is confusing as all hell. So be very kind to yourself through this, Doug. I know she doesn't want a divorce. The narcissist I married, does not want one either. We've given him, a lawyer and I have given him the divorce papers 3 times. The C in the CPTSD means complex. So complex post-traumatic stress disorder. PTSD can exist in very traumatic events that are very fast, intense, and fast-paced, and monumental in the sense that it's one time. So a lot of veterans will come back and have PTSD because of the time that they spent, right? And the things that happened. Maybe it was only one thing, maybe it was 100 things, but it was a short period of time. CPTSD can present in so many ways in long term and very subtle, very hard to identify traumatic events. We can get PTSD from a car crash, from a death in the family. We can get CPTSD from abuse, very obvious illegal abuse, being attacked in a parking lot or something like that. We can definitely get CPTSD from that, or PTSD from that. CPTSD can exist in very hard to identify ambient abuse that happens over time that we don't even realize is abuse. And that's what makes it complex. My family doesn't understand the addiction. Yet people who are not addicted really don't understand addiction. I totally get that. Reverse the role because I'm the problem. I missed that part. Hated myself and I felt like I just deserved the abuse he constantly told me. I had to love myself to save myself, to know I do not deserve it. Oh, I'm so sorry you went through that. Lucy, I want you to know, please consider that the person that is in your life telling you this doesn't actually feel this way about you. They feel that way about themselves. Wow, Ro, you're good. Thank you for the explanation. You're so welcome, Greggy. Yes, I do. I believe I got it 4 months within my shake every day. Yeah, so a narcissist can cause CPTSD. For me, it showed up in psychogenic tremors. So not only with the shaking of your body, your hands can shake, your extremities can shake. My toes would cramp sometimes. And I would get these insomnia, weeks of insomnia where I could not sleep. I would be almost as if when you drink and you have you wake up in the middle of the night because your body is in this heightened state needing that alcohol because it's withdrawing. It's like that, but it's a stress withdrawal. Because you have so much different hormones cycling through your body. And so it can show up and present in so many different ways. You need to run and force the divorce, in all caps. You do what you need to do, boo, for you. Radical acceptance got me to cut the addiction. Radical acceptance. Okay, so Radical Self-Acceptance is a really fantastic book. So anybody who talks about radical self-acceptance, I hope, has read the book, Radical Self-Acceptance. And it is an amazing book to help you just get through some of what you need to do to accept, because what persists in our life is everything we resist in our life. If we resist this thought that we are not good enough, if we resist this fear that we have that someone's going to hurt us, if we resist anything in life that we resist persists. Whatever we resist persists. If we don't want to be like our mom and we resist that, I never want to be like my mom, chances are you're going to be just like her. So this book really helps you understand how to radically self-accept certain aspects of life, just like the Serenity Prayer. If anybody here has experience in addiction, they know that the Serenity Prayer is God Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, right? To have the courage to change the things I can, and to have the wisdom to know the difference. That's part of radical self-acceptance. That's understanding that there are things out of our control that we cannot change, and that we also need the confidence and the wisdom to push through and be able to identify the things we are allowed to change. The serenity prayer plays over and over in my head daily. Me too, babes. Me too. Yeah, I keep hearing that we shouldn't resist feeling and dealing with the pain. We have to accept ourselves and love ourselves that we feel this. The way a narcissist is born is really, narcissists are created by the lack of being able to identify feelings, feel the feelings, and regulate the feelings, and be able to self-soothe through those feelings. So if you suppress your feelings and not allow yourself to feel them, right? If you're always justifying things, nope, that's not me, I don't do that. You don't actually accept yourself. You're not actually in the practice of self-care and self-love. You're denying what you feel by justifying it, by defending yourself and being in defense mode. If you meet somebody who's constantly irritated by things that people, that they express about them, right? The narcissist in my life, I would say, you seem very irritated right now. Like, you seem like this is really bothering you, right? Or you seem like you're in a bad mood. And they go, no, I'm not. You're in the bad mood. What are you talking about? They get immediately defensive, and they get immediately frustrated by something that isn't their narrative or isn't their way. It's because they don't know how to regulate their feelings. They don't know how to actually identify that they are in a bad mood. They'll say that you're in the bad mood. Narcissists don't know how to feel their feelings. In order to prevent narcissism, we need to allow children to feel their feelings. We need to allow children to regulate their feelings and be able to identify and label it. Hey, babe. Hey, son. I know you're feeling sad right now. That's sadness that you feel, right? That's sadness. Do you want to cry? I'm here for you. I understand if you feel like you need to cry. How can I help you work through this emotion? It's a pretty hard emotion, isn't it? How can I help you? I know you feel this way. I get it. I've felt like that too. You give them empathy. You give them love. You let them feel their feelings. You don't stop them. And what happens when we do that? They rely on the outside world to help them regulate their emotions. What happens when a narcissist is denied having access to feel their feelings? When a narcissist is denied being able to label what their feeling is, when a narcissist is denied the access to regulate, calm down, and feel the emotion, they will keep resisting, they will keep defending, and they will stop turning to the outside world for coping strategies, and they become inward. They go inward and they become self-absorbed. And that is where narcissists are created. That's how they're born. That's how you have a narcissist. A narcissist no longer relies on the outside world. They become self-absorbed. And they don't have the ability to identify their emotions, feel them, and regulate and self-soothe and bring them back down. They go to drugs, they go to alcohol, they go to abusing other people, they go to gaslighting, they go to manipulating. They change their narrative. They live in a delusional world because that is what soothes them. That is what helps them. It feeds their ego. They were never learned, they never were taught how to identify, feel their feelings, and regulate. So this is something that's really important for anybody who is a parent, any parents here, that is so, so important to let your children identify, feel their feelings, and regulate and self-soothe. Because the minute they stop trusting you, the minute they're not able to trust the outside world to help them soothe, they're going to go inward. And they're going to become self-absorbed. And they're going to turn to narcissistic traits to survive. I want you to be very careful with our children. We have the same view row. I ask my kids how they feel and help they identify. I love that. That's amazing. Yeah, I do that with my children. We stomp and punch pillows, we get mad, and then we end up in giggles. Exactly. See how easy it is? So what my therapist described this as the emotional tunnel. We go through this emotional tunnel, Okay, this is an emotional tunnel. There's always a light at the end of the tunnel. We go through an emotional tunnel, and as we're feeling this tunnel, it sucks in there. It's dark. It's constricting. You're suffocating in this tunnel. You don't want to be in there. But instead of us going through the tunnel and walking through it, we get stuck in it because we don't want to be there. We don't realize that the tunnel is the emotion, that we actually need to walk through it. We need to feel it. And so a lot of us will just light a match in the tunnel, right? A lot of us will just get a fan and start airing them off in the tunnel, but they'll stay in there because they don't want to walk through the rest of that feeling. They don't want to walk through the emotional tunnel. In order for us to get on the other side of the tunnel where the light is, we have to feel that feeling. We cannot just compensate and stay in the emotional tunnel and never leave. Right? This is really, really, really important to understand, that when we are in an emotional tunnel, we have to keep chucking along and keep going through that tunnel in order for us to get out. Greg puts me in a really bad mood. What? Greggy? Triggered how? Upset or on alert? Alcohol hasn't always been my friend during this trauma bond. I know this. Yeah. And sometimes for some of us, alcohol isn't. For some of us, alcohol, sleep, okay, playing video games, going on TikTok, watching TV. Some of us, these are forms of escape. For some of us, not all of us. Right? I can drink wine and I totally am not escaping. I'm enjoying a glass. I don't sleep to escape. You know, some people have panic attacks and they go right to sleep because that's their only way of getting out of it. You know, when you can fall asleep and it is no longer a form of escape, when we can go to sleep and it is no longer a way to escape, we're actually sleeping for rest. We're actually drinking to enjoy and indulge. We're actually playing video games for a self-expression act. We're actually watching TV or watching our movies, or we're listening to music, or we're doing things as a form of self-expression and a form of self-care. Then we know that we're practicing soothing techniques that help us. When we're using sleep as an escape, yes, if you still use sleep as an escape, then you know you're still deep in the healing process. You know you're still learning about yourself. And now you know, and you can learn about yourself and understand what triggers you and understand how to help you, what habits to change, which ways you want to move forward. How can I bond with another while healing from narcissistic abuse? I feel everyone around me is unloyal. I feel that too, Marie. I totally get that. And I've actually learned to trust myself with people. It's okay to fall for another narcissist. It's okay if you fall for another abuser. It's okay to be duped again. These people are out there. We can't help it. We cannot help it. What you can do is you can be in full practice of self-care and self-love and have strong boundaries, that when you do feel suspicious, when you do feel like someone isn't who they say they are, when you do feel like someone maybe has narcissistic traits or they're trying to manipulate you and use you, you can leave. Even if you've been there for 3 months, even if you got duped for 3 months, you can leave. So knowing that there are narcissists out there is just that part of acceptance. We have to accept that there are people out there that are going to use us for whatever reason. And sometimes it feels like it's too late, but you have the ability, the cutthroat ability to leave. You can cut anyone off the second you figure out that they are not who they say they are. The second you figure out that they're not really for you. The second you catch them in a lie. The second you figure out they're manipulating you. The second you figure out that they're pathological. You have the power to leave. Okay, this is a superpower that the narcissist has taught us. The main narcissist, the one that kept us in the cycle of abuse for too long. Now that you're out in the world again and you're trusting yourself and you're trusting other people, you're allowed to make mistakes. You're allowed to fall for narcissists again. It happens. It's not your fault. You didn't choose them. They chose you. But yes, peacemaker, you get so much better at it as you go along. You go, wait a minute, this doesn't seem right. And you can allow yourself to say, hey, boundary, I'm not putting up with this shit. No more of this. And you can walk away. So this is something that I've learned, that cutting people off, right? If you cut a lot of people off, there's nothing wrong with that. You're allowed to just cut people off when they're not who they say they are and they're not really for you. And you need the cutthroat ability to do it. If that's blocking, you do not need an explanation to block somebody. If that's just removing them as a friend or completely deleting them from your life, you do not need an explanation. Right? What's your question? Does Greggy have a question? There's no one here. It's lonely. It feels like it, right? Yeah, it feels like it. But your community, finding people who understand what you went through, even if it's not romantic, is going to help you heal. It's going to help you get in a community of people who get it. Do you have any clients who have narcissistic siblings, parents? Yes, I do. So I do work with people with narcissistic siblings, narcissistic parents, narcissistic friends, coworkers, and bosses. I work with people of all walks of life. Anyone who comes through my practice and I work with them one-on-one. A lot of the times it's men or women who have narcissistic abusive partners that are in romantic relationship with them, that are still in that romantic relationship or have just left or have left for a long time and they're still feeling very triggered by them or dealing with a trauma bond or dealing with going no contact. But I do also have people who deal with narcissistic work mates, other people that they work with in their at their job, and people who are their boss in positions of power. I also have clients that I work with narcissistic parents, mostly mothers, not so much fathers, but parents that are mothers, and people who have narcissistic siblings. So people who are the black sheep in the family and everyone else is golden child or golden parts of the family. So there's so many different types of people that I work with that are in different stages of healing. And if you do want to work with me and you want to book a session with me, you can go to the link in my bio and book a session with me. Just pick a time that works. And my schedule is completely up to date. Ro, if you cut me off one day and I didn't know why, that would traumatize me. I'd want to know why. I know, but I recently did this. And I warned this person. I said, if I ever cut you off or block you, I don't want you reaching out to me. I don't want you finding out. You don't need to know. That's a boundary of mine. Please don't. But then I also know that, if I do cut you off and I don't want to talk to you about it, then we were really never even that close anyway. Because there was something about you that made me feel really unsafe. And that in and of itself should be enough to not want to reach out to you, is that something you did made me feel very unsafe. And that's why I would have blocked you. So, Greg, I do not see that in our future, but you never know. So if I ever block you, please do not reach out. Please, I'm begging you. I don't want to have to. People who get blocked, this is what happens. If you have if somebody ever blocked me, I would be like, I'm so proud of you. In my head, I'd be like, I'm proud of this person for exerting their boundary. If I was to be blocked by someone, I would love it. Sometimes I wouldn't even know. I'd be like, okay, there's something I did that hurt them. Now think about a person who has a hard time holding boundaries. Think about a person who blocks someone. They finally get the courage to block somebody. They finally say, hey, I blocked you, right? And I didn't want to, but now I feel good about it, right? I feel good. And so they block you, and then you're like, okay, now I'm feeling powerful. I exerted my boundary. Then what happens? That person reaches out, and that person says, why did you block me? I don't understand. I thought we were friends. And now you feel bad. And you're like, well, because I didn't feel safe. I didn't. And now you feel bad, and then you're like, okay, let's work this out. And you end up unblocking them, and you end up being their friend again. What happens? You disrespect your own boundary. You start questioning yourself, and you have no idea how to do it again in the future. You have no idea how to block it. You start questioning yourself. You're like, I don't think I can do that again because it didn't turn out last time. That is the power of persuasion. Ouch, my feelings. If I got blocked, I'd want to know why. What if it was a misunderstanding? I know. I really don't think I'd ever block you though, Greg. Really don't. But if I do, you have to have radical acceptance and you have to let go with love. You have to let go with love. Ow, ow! What's up, guys? I have a call in 10 minutes. Sometimes my 10 o'clock calls, they are no-shows. So if they are, I'll come back. But I'm going to go now. I'm going to leave the live. And I want to let you know that if you do want to book a coaching session with me, if you liked what you heard today, consider subscribing. It tells me that you want me here more. Row, row, row your boat gently down my live stream. I'll come back later. Please consider subscribing to the live. If you do subscribe, what it tells me is that I need to be here more. I need to be more live, and that you do like what I'm saying and you do like hearing this and want to know what I'm talking about and be able to be in this space. You do get exclusive perks if you do subscribe to the live, and I'll be able to pass more free content out and be able to share more of what I've learned along my healing journey. We would never block each other. We good. We just rock in the boat. We rock that boat. We're not blocking each other. That's not happening. Okay. So let's not put a prenup in place. Okay. We don't need to discuss the conditions of the hypothetical. We don't need to do that. And so you're very welcome. I'm so happy that you guys are here. Thank you for being here. If you do want to subscribe, go ahead and do that. If you want to subscribe to my YouTube, go ahead and do that. Go to the link in my bio if you want to book a coaching session with me. If you want to join my group coaching session at the end of the month, September 25th, you can book that as well. And the very last thing, this new webinar that's coming up, that is Sandra L. Brown, who wrote the book, Women Who Love Psychopaths, is going to be interviewed. I'm going to be a panelist on that webinar. We're going to be interviewing her. She studied many pathological love relationships and how we get involved in psychopaths and narcissists and other toxic people. That you can also book a ticket for that webinar, which is coming up at the end of the month. And very, very lastly too, on narcapp.com, I have a wonderful course that I wrote on healthy dating after abuse. It's called Healthy Dating After Abuse. You can find that on narcapp.com. You can also download it as an app, and that is also in the link in my bio, so you can find that there by Raw Motivations. He's a self-aware narcissist on this platform, Ben Taylor.